Hey, this is Mark at Go Easy Motorcycles. Another episode for Louie's Garage. Come on in and let's see what he's got up for us today. Hey, Louie.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good, good. So what do we got today for Louie's Garage?
I want to talk to you guys about tire pressure.
Yes.
How important that is.
Tire pressure is a big deal this time of year, especially with the heat.
Yep, absolutely, and it's one of the most neglected pieces of maintenance
service
equipment on most
valves,
motorcycles.
Great, let's go on back.
Plugs, air filter, all your brake fluids, hydraulic.
Is that blink code or a P code?
Got the brand new multi-strong. If you guys have seen this one yet, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about tire pressure, how important it is, and also give kind of just a real quick overview on the multi-strong.
Oh, okay, yeah, we've actually done a review of the bike, and it's actually had quite a few hits on it, so it's going real well. But well, you know, tire pressure is the #1 cause of tire failure for vehicles and unfortunately motorcycles. And you have a tire failure on a motorcycle because of underinflation, you got a problem.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And also, a lot of people don't realize the effect that it takes on tire wear. Not having your tire pressure adequately inflated to where it needs to be will actually dramatically decrease the tire life, and it becomes a huge expense in the long run.
Yeah, motorcycle tires are not cheap, that's for sure.
Definitely not.
So, let's talk about this particular bike. So this recommended pressure on this
It's about 36 psi in the front and 42 psi in the rear, and a lot of that's going to vary depending on what type of riding you like to do. If you've got a passenger, so if you're 1 up, 2 up, if you have luggage, also how heavy the motorcycle is has a big variance. A big mistake that people make is they look at the sidewall and they read the maximum pressure reading on the tire, and that's really not a good area to set your pressure. Usually it's way overinflated, causes some real problems.
Go handling and skating and just a bad ride. So I guess the message here is to really point out, please check your tire pressure. You got to make sure you got it right. But what about systems that automatically check it for you? Automated systems. I'm not a real big fan of that. I kind of get nervous about trusting a gauge on my bike. Are they pretty reasonable and reliable?
They're extremely reliable, especially in this day and age with the way technology is headed. We've had some really great luck with the components that are either aftermarket or from the factory. And the main thing being, what a lot of people use them for is you're supposed to check your tire pressure every time you ride. Anytime you get on a bike, because you can technically lose anywhere from 3 to 6 pounds of pressure per day on your bike. But what a lot of people are using them for is if they have a blowout or if they're having a problem while they're riding, that gauge will instantly tell you if you're losing pressure.
So it detects rapid drops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So that way you'll know, even if you don't feel it, the dash will let you know that it is, even if it's a few pounds low or off, right away you've got something concrete that says, hey, take a look at your tire pressure.
So automated systems are, I guess, what's the proper terminology for those?
TPMS or tire pressure monitoring systems.
Okay, those are very reliable, and I know some of the earlier versions were suspect and not real reliable, but majority of the people out there still don't have that on their bikes. Is this bike equipped with that?
This bike doesn't have that particular system equipped, but you're seeing a lot more of the manufacturers are paying attention to it because it is such a safety component and also a nice luxury to have. And they have become really reliable. Some of the earlier ones, it was just a monitor, and they had a large, like a hose clamp that you see in most plumbing stores that went around the rim. It was pretty crude. Nowadays, the sensors are built right into the valve stem, and it transmits a radio frequency signal to an ECU or a control unit inside the instrument cluster or inside the computer. So they're becoming.
So it's basically telemetry.
Yeah, they're very scientific, very simple.
So I want to go back to the question you brought up. People look at the max tire pressure on the sidewall of the tire, and it's not really what you should look at. Can you kind of go into more detail on that? I mean, really. So let's say the bike is empty, and I'm just cruising around town. It has a max pressure, so you think people are typically just putting in max pressure. That max pressure is for when the bike is at maximum load.
Correct.
Okay.
Maximum load, and also after say the tires have been warmed up, because as the friction with the road increases heat in the tire, the air will expand. So a lot of these are between 40 to 50 psi, which is typically way too high.
Yeah, because as they get hot, they're going to bump up to probably an extra 10 to 12 psi.
Yep, without a doubt.
And that's why they say on the tire, it's max pressure at cold.
Sure. Yep.
So what you suggest is really kind of do your best judgment on tire pressure depending on your load. If you're 2 up and you've got tons of luggage. I look at the way people pack some of the motorcycles. They look like jet clamping going down the road.
Sure.
You know, just piled up. You know the bikes are overloaded. But that's when you really start saying, okay, bike tires are cold. I'm going to go ahead and put the max pressure that's stated on the side of the tire.
Yep.
And I know all manufacturers are different, so.
Yeah, and the reason being, Mark, for a lot of that is because they produce these tires for a wide array of motorcycle brands and manufacturers, so they really can't gauge what this tire is going on. It could go on a BMW, a Ducati, a Honda, a Kawasaki. So a really good tip, and I tell people to look inside your owner's manual or call your local service center, and they can give you a good idea for your area, your climate, and also the particular model of motorcycle that you have.
Yeah, well, like I said, you know, it's summertime here in Arizona, and you know, temperatures on the freeway are anywhere from 120 to 130 degrees, and I'm seeing tire carcasses all over the road. So let that dig go and talk about. Well, thank you very much, Louie.
My pleasure. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for next week's episode of Louie's Garage.